Coach, tell us a little bit. This is practice number 5, I guess.
5, coming off a day off, full pads for the first time. A lot of controlled stuff. Effort's been really good. I'm pleased with the effort. Guys are trying to do what we ask and do the right things, and we keep getting better every day. Too many missed assignments out there, too many busts. We talk about can't beat ourselves. We can't be a team that beats ourselves, and so we've got to get that cleaned up. Really pleased with the effort and just trying to do the right things.
Coach, these practices, when we finally suit up and go full pads, the physicality increases. Did you like what you saw out of the guys today as far as the fight?
Yeah, I did, but you got to try. We try and keep it controlled, right? And especially early on, some very controlled pieces of the day where it was, ramped up, so to speak. But I did. The guys, it's football, and they love to play football. That's why they're here, and they showed that today. And again, it's easy to come out on a day off and be sluggish, and they weren't. So I was really pleased with that.
Already a couple of injuries. How do you minimize injuries and maximize prepreparation?
Yeah, and I'll get into those specifics, down the road as we get closer to game day. But it's football. It's part of it, and in order. When you look at the end of the season, the teams typically that are pretty good usually have less injuries, and so. We try and do everything we can from a practice standpoint to control it, but you got to practice. Football is a game where you tackle people. You have to practice tackling. You have to practice blocking. You have to practice cutting. Those are all things that you do on Saturdays. And I'm a big proponent. I'm not going to get on the coaching staff and say, well, why didn't we do this if we didn't do it in practice? It's just not realistic. So we just have to, do as good a job as we can and really limit the number of reps, play football.
The high-fiving at the end of each session between the offense and defense, just where did that sort of originate and what's the story behind that?
Yeah, so Coach Schaff, he brought that with him. It was something they did at Butler, and we started implementing that in the spring. It's like when we've got here, or since we've got here from day one, it's been about family, and protecting the family, loving the family, and getting to know the family. You can't be family unless you really know each other. And so we're going to go out. We expect our guys to compete hard against each other, but after it's over, we want to show each other, hey, man, respect, love. That's what the family does, and so that's the whole thought behind that.
Coach, going on maybe a week of practices, any position groups that are starting to stand out, show maybe a little more effort than you've seen?
I liked what I saw from the DBs today. Saw some good stuff in some drills, some footwork drills, some tackling, the one-on-ones. I think the receiving core has got some guys, so we're getting better across the board. I like what the O-line's doing. There's a lot to like right now, and again, we haven't played anyone, but I would say right now, though, the DBs and receivers, the DBs really impressed me today.
I'm curious about the defensive line. What's kind of your impression of that position group and who's starting to stand out, in there?
A lot of guys.
Yeah.
There's some guys, though, man, that can play, and I think we have some veterans, a guy like Teak, obviously, Terrence Jones. He's been here, he's played a lot of reps, but again, if you look at Cortland Horton and the work he's put in the weight room, there's a lot of guys, and I don't want to, it's always hard when you come here and do these interviews like you ask, and you name 1 or 2 guys, it's a disservice because there's a bunch of guys that are doing good things right now. There's a lot of depth there, and we've got to ultimately get to a rotation of the guys that can help us. But, when I was down there watching the one-on-ones and the O-line and D-line, I'm like, if you watched us in the spring and you watch us now, and again, I keep saying this, I don't know how it's going to translate to wins losses, but we're a whole heck of a lot better than we were when we walked off the field in April, especially at those 2 spots.
And that's due to new guys coming in or improvements?
I think first and foremost, the older guys, the work that they put in the summer, you can see that. So I think that getting a little bit more familiar with Coach Schaff and Coach Amy, I think certainly helps. And then obviously an influx of talent has certainly helped that too. And so I think when you put that combination of those 3 things together, you got a chance to have a respectable deep front.
Hey, tell me about Quantrell a little bit. What have you seen out of him lately? And kind of his
since we got here, he's kind of been a guy that he catches your eyes, big and physical. First of all, it starts with him off the field. He's just a great young man, and you know what? There's a bunch of those guys in our program, so I'm certainly proud of that. And he represents us the right way. But he's big and physical, smart player, can run. I just think he has a chance to be a really good player on our team in this league and be a great leader as well.